don't know if you guys can see that or not. The back tire on the inside left of that dump truck, that's like the third one of these I've seen today, and that's something big to watch out for. Also, you can see his mud flap riding up on top of the tires. I'm going to get away from him. Always try to keep an eye out for stuff like that, because chances are he doesn't even know it. There was a dollar store truck about 2 miles back, same thing. He had a tire blown out, and it was just sitting there, just hooped around the wheel. And I started noticing about 10 miles back, probably, I started seeing pieces of rubber just flying around, you know, people running over and tossing them around the road. But always keep your eyes out for, you know, other people's tires, especially big truck tires, because you get behind that dump truck or behind that other truck I saw back there a while ago, or I saw a parking lot, you know, car hauler back last week, I think it was, and he had a tire that had blown out. And if you're behind them and they throw stuff up, I've got a, you know, my truck has a white grill in it, and one of these days, if I think about it, I'll show you. I've got a permanent black mark across my grill from a piece of that rubber flying out. So I left my house earlier today, headed back up to Middlebury, Indiana, picking up a bumper pull. I want to say it was a Transcend bumper pull, 32 feet, going to Sacramento, California. It'll be a little bit of a change up. I've been running back to back Southern Californias down across 40 for a pretty good while now, so it'll be a nice change of scenery. I figure I'll get up there. It'll be dark when I get there, but I was really hoping to hook up and make it all the way over to Walcott, Iowa, but really it doesn't matter. It's Thursday. I'll hook up tonight, or maybe first thing in the morning, but probably tonight. Get hooked up tonight, and give me Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to make it out there. That shouldn't be that big of a deal. I may not be there first thing bright and early Monday morning, but I will be there Monday and get delivered and head on back, probably get another one. But I made it up to Lindell, Kentucky, and stopped and got something to eat and got fueled up, and I'm back on my way. Alright guys, so I'm here. I found my trailer and I found my packet with the keys and all. So I've already double checked my VIN number. I've already torqued my wheels. All I got left to do now is hook up. I've already checked for damages, and now the next thing is, if you're doing this, I've got it hooked up on my auxiliary lights. The Chevrolets have got the mirror lights that come on, but you need some extra lighting. So those are my two lights that you may have seen underneath the bumper. These things are extremely handy for doing stuff like this. So if you don't have a set, it's probably something good to look into. The lights on the mirrors, that is my favorite thing that Chevrolet did with this truck. Those are awesome. About 50% of the time they're pointing in your eyes and somewhere you don't need them, but at the same time they really light things up down the edges of the truck. So here we go again, just showing the difference. I don't care how good your flashlight is. I mean, that right there comes in handy. So, because I still have to put my hitch on, and I do have the Gen Y that extends out a little bit further than your regular hitch, I'm gonna just leave this, let it sit right here, drag all my pieces out, start putting it together. All right, here are the two main pieces of the Gen Y. I did buy a key to like. This is the cylinders that actually lock onto the pins. They're interchangeable. So I got 2 pins with 2 locks, 2 keys. Take the actual Genline shank. This is the 2.5 inch shank, or hitch, however you want to put that. When I slide that in, I'm not going to worry about putting my pin in it right now. Here is the weight distribution shank. And normally it needs to be in the all the way up position. So I'm not going to worry about putting that pin in either at this time. Until I can close the tailgate, that way I can get to everything a little bit easier. So for the time being, get all this stuff sitting out here on the bumper where it's easier to get at. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one through right here. Slightly more aggravating to do when you got it all put together, but slightly more aggravating to put it together while the tailgate's in the way also, so kind of is what it is. Take this one. Now there is a place for both pins, but this hitch is really overkill for this truck. My low rubber cap I ordered off Amazon to go on it, keep the moisture out, which isn't the exact fit, but it works really well. And there's the hitch. And if you notice, it's a lot of hitch for this truck. That's the only con that I really have about it, is it does set the hitch the trailer so far away from the truck that now it kind of has leverage. Pull them from way back here to rock the truck. The other one sits about right here, but I still like it. For the time being, I'm just going to set those on the trailer frame. See that? I'll turn it until it lines up with a notch. Bring it in. There's the notch, and now it's locked in. All right, they had these wires taped up to where there was no way the battery was going to fit there with them where they were at, so I had to untape that, and then I just set my battery right here in that angle iron and just set right there. It doesn't have to be centered up, but I like to center it up. And then we've only got these two wires, so we're going to put the black on the negative, red on the positive. I'm sure y'all already know that, but I'm just saying it out loud to make sure I do it right. There's the positive. Battery hasn't been used in a while, and it has gotten wet. I'm hoping from water, not from acid. And I have a charge wire that I normally put on it to keep it charged up, so when I get here, I know my battery's good and hot. And it wasn't on there this time. It was on there, but I didn't plug it in. So it's not been charged since Rancho Cucamonga. Try to angle these wires to go out where the ports are in the battery box. It'll save you a lot of grief later on. Actually, I think, yeah, I think both of those could run right out that one. And it'll help keep them up off the ground while I'm traveling. Both the wires came right out of that little port right there in the battery box. Just make sure we got power. We do. Finish that up in a minute. Drop my strap down to that side because I don't want to wrestle the rest of it through that side. Then when I do, I hook the hooks back into themselves, right like that. You can see. Hold tight and pull it down. And that's not what I wanted. I want the strap to go around those wires to help hold them in place. And it went around one and it didn't go around the other, so there, that should be it. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. Don't crank that down just yet, just get it good, just good enough that it'll hold itself. And then roll this back up. There's 100 different ways to do this. I'm just gonna do it the way I always do it. Pull just a little bit of gap. And that is why you don't tighten it all the way up. Now that it's underneath in the center, I'll give it a couple of cranks. Check my wires to make sure they're not against the metal, they're actually against plastic. Crank it on down. You're not trying to break your battery box. You're just trying to get snug enough that it can't move. And then you can see that's what I did with the wires, because flopping in the wind they actually will come loose from the other side. They'll wiggle loose. They can. Alright, this thing, there's supposed to be a bungee cord holding it down. Sometimes there is, sometimes there's not. I'm going to check and make sure that bungee cord is there, and it is. As long as that bungee cord is on there, I'll leave this on. If the bungee cord is not on there, I'd definitely take it off. Definitely tighten these screws up. If you don't, they'll be gone. Alright, a lot of people I know take that off anyway just for safekeeping. This here, this is my charge wire. That goes on the positive, that goes on the negative, and plug that into your outlet, and there's a LED light that lights up and tells you that the battery charge, that it is working, that you are getting fire and your fuse is not blown. I made up a bunch of those. I used to carry them in a truck with me. I sold a bunch of them, but as of anymore, I don't. I mean, I could if somebody wanted one, but I'd rather just make a video. There is a video showing how to make that, just not with that plug. Somewhere in here I have a wrench that I'm gonna need. If you guys are looking for a good headlamp, this whole light on top of my head, I wouldn't take anything for it. I bought one, lost it, and then turned around and bought this one. And if I lose this one, I'll buy another one tomorrow. I've just got to where I don't know how to live without it. And I will leave a link to it in the description if you guys want to check it out. make sure there's absolutely nothing that can hit, and I don't see anything it could. Looks like it's kind of hard for you guys to see, but I can see it pretty good. I'm watching my bars, I'm watching the hitch. Alright, it just made contact right there. So now, latch my hitch, and I'm gonna set my chains up. Alright, so this chain needs to be straight up and down as possible. So that's gonna have a little bit of an angle. So lift that cover up, and that's got it. You can't go too far, but just lift it up and go as far as you can. Try to get it as straight as you can. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but the straighter up and down it is, the more effective it'll be. Then twist the bolt on the back, bring the slack out. Make sure that this bracket is not rubbing that cover. It can be sitting on top of it, it just can't be rubbing. Then make a 1/2 inch wrench and a 1/4 turn. That did not feel like a good 1/4 turn. It felt like it was a little bit loose. I'm gonna go just an hour more. And that's what you need right there. So get your pipe, your cheater tool, whatever you want to call it. Bring this all the way down. And it seems like to me, every trailer I pull, if I leave 2 links hanging, that's perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with 2 links hanging. Make sure that you have a good open link at the top for it to grab hold of. None of this crap right here. None of that. So take and hook that right there. Put your pipe on and cam it over. When you cam it over, I can't hold everything at one time, so that pin right there will slide through from this side and lock into place. I'll show you how that works. I've done videos like this before. Y'all probably already know all this. I'm just showing in case somebody didn't see. Yep. You'll lose those pins pretty regularly if you're not careful in the toolbox most of the time, most likely. But when they're on right there, they're on. There's not really any way they can come loose. I'm gonna get the other side knocked out and we'll let her down. One other thing I do want to mention, when you have the pipe on here and you cam this over, do not turn loose of that pipe until you've got that pin in. If you do, if the pipe slips off, if it uncams, that pipe will come around with some tremendous force on it. You don't want to be in front of that, so leave the pipe on until you know it's secured. So I've got both of these on. The very next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my padlock on, which sometimes I use a padlock, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I use a regular pin, but most of the time they like to see a padlock. I like to see a padlock. That way you know nobody's messing with your stuff and you know it can't come off. I don't think anybody would, I'd like to think nobody would unlatch that, but someone might steal your pin. The breakaway cable. All right, I'm just gonna run it right through the padlock. That way it is up and out of the way. And if you, I hope you guys can see there's a carabiner right there. That's where that's gonna go. All right, now these hooks right here would be fine on the Chevrolet. It would, except for now they're barely not going to be long enough. So with the Gen Y and with the way Chevrolet did their hitch, I've got these, and I'll leave a link to these in the description below. They're just, make sure you have a weight rating. If you go to Tractor Supply or somewhere and buy a set of these, make sure you have a weight rating on your on all of it. G70. I ordered these from eTrailer.com, I think. 5/16 G70, and they're both rated. They're both
legit for safety chains. They're actually from CURT, is where those came from. It actually has CURT stamped into the hook. So make sure and crisscross your chains. And see, there's one. There's the other one. If you do have a Chevrolet and you get a hold of those little wire hooks, if you know what I'm talking about, they're just real little S hooks. You'll have a hard time fitting those in there, but with those adapters right there, you don't have any troubles. So now, you notice, I hope you notice, I get to plug in the electrical connection. Now, the reason I'm doing this last, a lot of the people I see, they want to do it first. And they wind up blowing the fuse in the truck because that hot wire back there is against a piece of metal. Wait until the very end. You see I got power. I've had power the whole time from the battery. The battery needs to go on first. I can't stress that enough. I keep seeing people with blown fuses. And I asked them, well, you did put your battery on first to make sure the wires were connected to the battery before you hooked up, right? And they say, no, I plugged it into the truck so the jack would work. No, the jack works off the battery. And if you plug this in, that red wire is against the frame, you're going to blow your fuse, your battery not going to charge. So now that everything's hooked up and ready to go, we're ready to plug in and check our lights. Let the jack down and then check our lights. So I need to get a bigger lock, that way I can run this cable through the lock as well. That would make me feel better. It would be kind of more secure, but this will be fine. Run the jack all the way up. I try not to let it bottom out because I don't want to strip the gears in the jack, but I will let it get up higher than the hitch. Because if it's tucked way up in here, it can't rub. With my hitch hits everything. So if it's higher than the hitch, I should be okay. But if it's up area level with those bars, it's definitely gonna be okay. I'm not gonna bottom it out. Like I say, I don't like hearing those gears strip when you do bottom it out. So that's it as far as the hooking up process. Now I'm gonna pull it out of the hole and check the lights. I've already walked around and checked for damages. I already checked the number and the serial number and matched everything, the VIN number, matched everything with the it is my unit, matched everything with appropriate paperwork. Everything's good. So pull it out, lock it up, check the lights, we'll be on our way. Right, now that I'm back in the truck, what's the first thing I'm gonna do before I ever even attempt to pull out? I'm gonna check my brakes, make sure that they're working. If I do that and that doesn't work, if that doesn't light up, then I have issues right off the bat. But this one's working. Most of the time from the dealer, the brakes are not too awful great. By the time you get to where you're going, it will probably they'll be adjusted up and you have a hard time keeping it from not sliding the tires. So when I start pulling out, make sure you pull straight ahead. And now I'm gonna grab those brakes. And like I thought, I got them adjusted all the way up and they're not even stopping the truck. I mean, you can feel that they're there. They are working. They're just not working very good at all. So pull as far forward, straight forward as you can to make sure that the tail doesn't swing into the unit beside of it. Yep. Now we're out. I'm just gonna, it's the middle of the night, there's nobody here. So I'm gonna pull right straight up here, go put my plate on, check the lights and make sure everything is working like it's supposed to. Check the brakes again. If you notice, we're still rolling. Brakes are maxed out, we're still rolling. So a lot of times what you can do if that happens, put it in reverse, make sure absolutely nothing is behind you, and just pump the brakes.
That's not a guaranteed fix. Cut the daggone parking sensors off. That is not a guaranteed fix, but in my experience, it does help. All right. Now we're gonna pull back forward and see, did it help? Which is not really a big deal. Like I say, before we get where we're going, they'll be tight. And they're better. I felt them come in, they actually are better, and they brought us pretty much to a stop. Definitely better than it was. Did bring us to a stop. They wouldn't earlier. So now I will do that again a time or two before I leave. Well, all right, I have checked all the lights. They all seem to be working. And I really like how that one's blinking like it is on the side. Makes you feel like there's a bad ground somewhere, but they're burning, so I'm not worrying about it. I think it'll be fine. And this daggone old light, I can't get over. It's barely on. Next level, next level. Put it on high, and wish my headlights were this good on the truck. So, one more look over. Now, another very big pro to the Gen Y, I love that I can still let my tailgate up and down. Some you can, some you can't without it, with a regular hitch, but it's great when you can. So, we're all done. Everything that I was looking at is, everything that I needed to do is done. I'm ready to go. I was looking at how level it's set, because I think it's pretty good though. I was worried I may have I should have dropped it down to the next level down, but I think right now it's good. And if it does ride super rough or anything like that, I'll stop somewhere and let it down. You could let the airbags down, but what happens when you do that? When you let the airbags down, it puts more tension on those springs, because the truck comes down and the springs will try to point further toward the ground, and it will pull down even more, make it ride like crap. So with the airbags, I try to put it where I want it before I ever leave, and then that way it is where it's going to be. And then if something needs to be changed, then you change it all at once. You jack it back up, adjust your air, adjust your chains, pain in the butt with airbags. A lot of times I don't even use the airbags, but with this one being 32 feet, I went in and put 15 pounds of air in the bags. Anyway, now this guy right here got a nice ride. That thing got a house on the back of it. Keeps it clean too, truck and trailer. So I was watching this guy back out. Very nice truck. And I look back over and I see this. It's not gonna let me zoom in, but you can see right there in front of the back tire, where the second tire is supposed to be, all gone. Nothing but some brake shoes sitting up there. That's rough. It looks from here like he has it chained up, but I hope it didn't hurt nobody when it happened. I hope he caught it ahead of time and tore it down like he had a truck stop, because if not, them wheels went somewhere. 32-foot Transcend travel trailer. It is setting a whole lot more level today than it looked last night. Most of the time, that top hole is about right. Like I say, I'm going over looking for anything I could have missed in the dark last night, but I've not seen anything. The only thing I am seeing is these caps right here were not there when I got there. Hopefully it either didn't have them or they're inside the unit, because like I said, they weren't they weren't in there when I got there last night. Seemed like it's gonna pull pretty good. I did have to let
5 pounds there. Out of it, I have 15 in it. So I let it back down to 10, and 10 seems to be working a whole lot better. It was super bouncy when I pulled down on 10 pounds of pressure with the weight distribution set where it was at. And I let the 5 pounds out, and it seemed to smooth it completely out. It seemed to make it 100% better.
So I wanted to get it on video back there, but I missed it. When you're coming through Davenport, coming from Illinois, you come into Davenport, and if you go around the top side, just stay on 80 around the top side of Davenport. Right there where I'm pretty sure it's where 74 and 80 come together. I may be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's Rhythm City Casino. You'll see that sitting right off in the corner there, and that's why it was hard for me to find it, because it's real easy to spot going east. It's kind of hard to spot going west. Anyway, if you get off and go to toward the Rhythm City Casino, especially if you're in a pickup or a bobtail big truck, the casino has truck parking. That's not a problem, but they also have a Walmart. They have a ridiculous movie theater. Got some of the most comfortable chairs I've ever sat in a movie theater. All kind of stuff to do off that exit. I used to stop in there, and they had a pretty good car wash that I would take my pickup through. I've been to the movie theater in a bobtail 18-wheeler. I have been to the casino in an 18-wheeler and my pickup, and then the pickup pulling the camper, and never had any issues, except for it gets dang cold and dang windy. But for the time being, I didn't get breakfast this morning. I just kind of didn't really want fast food. I was hungry, still hungry, but I didn't want fast food, and I haven't got anything in my cooler. So here I am coming into here in Walcott. I'm gonna stop at the Iowa 80, run in and get something to eat, and get back after it. One thing I kind of did want to touch on, though, I may have mentioned it in another video. You may already know about it, but as soon as I get coming down the exit, you'll see it right across the street there, Grandma's Kitchen. That is a pretty good place to eat. And if you go, when you walk through the doors, if you turn to the left, they have a restaurant, a regular restaurant. And if you turn to the right, they have a bar. And the name of the bar is slipping my mind at the moment, but I want to say it's Checkered Flag, or I don't know, maybe I'll say it when I get up here. Anyway, if you like pizza, this is gonna sound crazy, bacon chicken ranch pizza, add jalapenos. It's freaking great. I have been known to stop in and get a small and a large, and eat the small there and take the large with me. It's pretty great. That's the Checkered Flag Bar and Grill. So there it is, right straight across from us right now. Anyhow, let's see. And now I didn't know this when I'm used to going out to the back where the big truck's parked. I had no idea until one day I saw the buses and RVs sign right there that you can come in and go right straight across, pending traffic. Golly, this place busy today. Make sure I try to dodge the awning, stay out from under the awning, because you never know how high your trailer is, which I don't think it would hit, I'm just saying. And then RVs, buses, and trailers to the right. And it can be kind of tight if you have a large unit. And then a lot of times I'll park far down on the far end, because I just don't like being close to the store, because that's where the most traffic is, and I'm not trying to get hit. But for now, this will do. Another cool thing to do if you're up here and you have time, I've only done it once. I want to go back. When I go back, I'm going to get video. Get you off the windshield here. That Iowa 80 Trucking Museum, that place is pretty cool. It won't let me zoom in, but it's pretty cool. They've got all kind of old antique trucks in there, just all kind of stuff. It's worth the money. I want to say, I don't remember, it's been 4 years ago since I've been in there, so maybe one day I'll go in and get some video, and that way you guys can check out the video and see if it's something you want to stop in and pay the money to see yourself. But for right now, I'm gonna go get that breakfast I was talking about earlier. Been a long morning, long day. It's like 3 o'clock, so and I haven't ate yet, so I'll be back. This is the first time I use this microphone when it's raining, so I'm wondering how it's gonna do. Really hoping it don't start hailing. I don't mind the rain, I don't want no hail. But anyhow, I guess I'll just keep easing on and for a few more minutes. There's a couple more truck stops right down the road here. See what we can find. That lightning's starting to get pretty doggone ridiculous. I don't know which one of you guys is most aggravating, the one putting along in front of me, it's the slow, or the one in the left lane still running wide open. The Fumoto 2.0 3-stroke headlights. This will be the last night that I'm running them, I do believe. They're okay when it's clear out. They look a little bit better on camera than what they do in person right now. They're not horrible. They're just not as good as the original halogens. So I will definitely be getting another set of I've already got another set of halogen bulbs. I just need to get them put in. Dang, Rove through here is bumpy as crap too. This is some of the more undesirable, one of the more undesirable points of the RV transport. You get in weather like this and you kind of won't stop. Where can you stop? I mean, everybody wants to stop, so all the parking goes away really fast. And you kind of want to push on because it looks like you run out of it before long, but then you don't. I mean, this is one of those times where you really gotta make good decisions. You know, if not, you run into weather you don't want to be in, and if you stop, trying to park in weather like this is not very good either. I mean, it gets aggravating both ways. And so, you know, I'm absolutely not holding the camera. It's in a mount on the windshield. But I'm going to, wow, we're coming to a stop. Why are we coming to a stop? I don't know. One car pulled off on the shoulder. Don't cause a pile up. Freaking ridiculous. Even with my non-favorable headlights and everything that is, I still see good enough to keep moving. I'm not gonna stop. Anyway. Well, the rain's starting to clear out now, and everything seems to be looking a lot better from the radar. And I have the weather app on my truck, and it's pulled up now. It looks like I've ran out of the bad stuff. Just going to be some light rain from here. About the next 20-30 miles to Omaha. Then it'll clear up completely and it'll be smooth sailing. Well, made it through the rain last night, and everything, trip went back to normal and smooth sailing. I guess that lasted probably about 30 minutes or so. And that's one thing I do like about the truck, you know, having some apps on the screen. Pushed on the Weather Channel app, pushed on radar. It showed me exactly where I was at, exactly where the weather was, and I saw that it was just a band that I was going to run right through. So I went in and eased on through it, and then made it to Grand Island, Nebraska, over to Bozeman Pilot, and crashed there, and got up this morning, and it has been a long, boring day so far. Headed to Ogallala to get fuel. One thing I noticed that I wasn't really thinking about is how much more expensive fuel has gotten across the western states. Once you cross into Wyoming, it significantly jumps, and it's always been kind of that way, but it's pretty drastic this time. A lot more than what I remembered. I mean, I saw, even with their discount, there's a few places, once you get further on out west, fuel's $4 a gallon. And I don't, 401, 402. I don't remember exactly where the places were. I looked at it before I left, but I went in and picked my fuel stops. I want to say I'm going to get it, I could have got it at Bozeman's for $2.60, I think it was. And that's, you know, that was pretty good. But it was $2.74 on over here in Ogallala. But I needed to stop in Ogallala anyway because they got a Walmart. I need to get some drinks and some grocery stuff. There's a little bar I was talking about with the truck parking out back. And there's a line for a fuel island here in Ogallala. And it's pretty good reason for that. I checked again, the fuel price is $2.60 a gallon here with our discount. Whenever you get a decent fuel price, they sell out. That's why there's such a line, as there's only like 3 fuel islands open. I went and got my trip permit in Wyoming, just now leaving the port of entry. And I tell you, the weather is so nice out today. It's 82 degrees, but man, it is a nice, cool 82 degrees. Not what I've been used to here recently. Never actually seen one of the watercraft getting inspected before, but they had a guy pulled over there, giving him a good look over. But anyhow, as far as the fuel went earlier when I stopped for fuel, if you know that you're driving through, your trip's going to take you where the fuel is going to spike up, and you're planning on waiting to the last minute and getting fuel to that last cheapest place so you can make it as far as you can, it's not a bad idea to call ahead. I meant to say that earlier and I forgot about it. I wanted to throw it in later. Call ahead and just ask them, hey, I just called and say, hey, I heard y'all was running low of fuel and you're my last fuel stop before I get where I'm going. I just wanted to make sure y'all are good, right? And they'll either say, oh yeah, we're good, or no, we're running low, or whatever they're saying. But anyhow, want to throw that in there. And now I come out of the port, went down to exit 370, which is the very next exit. I have a hotel here, Kenworth dealer right down the road. Good place to stop. And if you don't want T-Joe's, if you're not looking to spend that much money or that big of a meal, they got a pretty decent little restaurant inside there too. You see the guys parked along the edge of the road here. I'm just going to get right in front of this front guy because I'm not going to be here very long. So this morning I am getting close to the Utah state line. I believe this mile marker right here says I am 13 miles away. Driving along last night and the wind started picking up. I wasn't really expecting any weather, but it definitely showed up. The wind picked up a little bit. Then it kind of started raining a little bit. Then I noticed the signs over the road said 40 plus mile an hour wind gusts ahead. So I don't think the app that I have on my phone, I use the Windy app, and that seems to be a pretty good one for me. It was showing that the wind never got over 32 mile an hour gusts, but that can still be too much. Anyway, there was another camper behind me and a big truck in front of me, and we were all slowed down to about 50 mile an hour, and it was blowing. It was getting right on the verge of the point of where I would want to look for a place to pull over, but you know, it was doable. The guy that was having the hardest time was a car hauler, big truck car hauler that was in front of us, and it seemed to be having its way with him. I mean, if I'd have been in his shoes, I'd have been looking for a place to pull over. But anyway, in about an hour and 20 minutes at 50 miles an hour across to Little America, I got there, I was just worn out. The wind had died off, the rain had gone away, but I just wasn't feeling it. When you slow down, you get into weather like that, it will wear you out. But anyway, I'm back up on the road again. I'm 10 miles from the Utah state line, and I'm going to go on over to Thule, Utah, and then I looked at the fuel prices again this morning. I think my next stop will be in Wells, Nevada. It showed to be the same price at Wells as it was at Thule. So I think I'm going to try to do that. I think that'll be plenty to get me into California, back to Wells, and then I'll buy enough at Wells that next time to get me all the way back into Nebraska. So now I'm coming across the salt flats, I guess, out here on 80. And I know the first couple of times I come through here, I thought all this was dirt. I thought it was dirt or something. I'd always heard of the salt flats, but I had never actually been out here to them. And on my way back, I actually went out and went to the Bonneville Raceway, or whatever you call it, and which blew my mind. It was just a road that led out into a cul-de-sac, and it had the sign there, Bonneville Raceway. But I was out there by myself. I was kind of nervous to venture out on the sand or on the salt too far. I did get out and got a couple pictures of the truck and got back up on the road, and I thought about it. Someone commented on it, made a really good point that next thing you need to do is find a truck wash. That salt would, you know, not be good on the truck. So probably won't be doing that again. I did think about trying to get in up here somewhere where I could get a picture of the truck and trailer with the salt in the background, but you can see where people just get off the interstate here and just ride right out through there. Some of them, it doesn't look like had too good a luck with it. There's a lot of places where it looks like people have been stuck and it looks really wet out there right now, but I don't know, it's cool to see. So here is the last port of entry I will go through in Utah. Bumped into another driver back there, said they were doing inspections at the next rest area, but I don't know, I didn't ever see it. Full stop required before pulling on the scales. 5 miles an hour. On the road again. I just started up this hill. About halfway up the hill, I had the cruise set. I canceled the cruise. My foot is about 25% throttle, and I dropped one gear. I just manually dropped another gear, and I had a buddy that was running with me one day, and he passed me, and he said, "You making old truck work for it, aren't you?" I said, "No, I'm not." He's like, "Well, it sounds like it is. It's revved up and turned all them RPMs and stuff." But here's the thing. When I was just, even when I canceled the cruise control and backed out of it, my barometer was sitting on 1350 degrees. When I cancel the cruise and I back off of it, the barometer drops to about 1275. When I downshift, manually downshift, one or two gears, get the air moving through the engine where it's pulling in more cool air and blowing out more hot air. Although that was rough. The exhaust gas temperature drops all the way down to like 1125. So that's why I do that. If you hear the truck rev up in the videos and wondering, dang, old Chevy's struggling, ain't it? No, it's not. I'm just trying to keep it cool. I want it to last as long as it can. Is it capable of running 12, 13, 1400 degrees? Yeah, I'm saying do it. How many times though? That's what I think about. How many times can I run it up to 1450 degrees and hold it for how long going up whatever hill? You know, does it take off in the life? I feel like it does, but whether it does or whether it doesn't, that's just kind of the way I do things. It's just checking out the smoke on these mountains. You can see the silhouette of the mountains through the smoke, but that's a lot of smoke, a lot of haze. Oh, got a little close. I didn't have to stop in Thule, Utah for fuel. Normally I do, which normally I don't fly across 80, but if the speed limit's 75, I do 70, you know. But like I said, on this trip, I've slowed down to 65. That's what I'm running right now. And the fuel mileage has came up to, remember it was an 8.1 coming through Nebraska at 70. Yeah, Nebraska at 70. And it's sitting right at 10 now. And earlier today I saw it up at 12. I don't know exactly what's happened. I guess because I went into some hard pulls back there. Man knocked it down a little bit. Let's check. Yeah, last 62 miles is 10 miles a gallon. Let's see what the last 400 miles is 11 miles a gallon. And it was I usually leave it on the 60 mile mark. 62 being a Canadian truck, it shows 62 mark in there. Anyway, I normally leave it on that. That gives me a good estimation if it's going up or down and all that stuff. But slowing down to 65 and 68, I think, has allowed me a little bit more leadway with my fuel, and that's how I had the extra fuel to make it on to Wells. That's my theory on it anyway. So got over there, got fuel, and grabbed something to snack on, and about 160 miles from Sparks. I'm gonna lay down there and try to get up early in the morning and go across Donner Pass and get on into California. Hopefully get over and get this thing off and turn around and get headed back. That's kind of the game plan. But I just kind of want to get you guys some video of this. Like I say, just the haze, that smoky haze. I'm just not used to seeing it. I thought I'd been out here when it had done this before, but I don't remember it ever being as bad as it is this time. And this is not as bad as it's got. It's just, you know, bad as it's got where I thought about turning the camera on. I just passed the sign that said we're coming into Tahoe National Forest. And this is still about 10 miles before you start over Donner Pass. I think it's about 8 miles from Truckee. Thought I was a little closer earlier than what I was, I guess. I haven't been out there in a while, but it is so stinking smoky out here. I mean, I've seen it smoky around before, but I mean, even like coming up the mountain here, it's just super smoky, but it is really, really gorgeous out here. All unhooked and ready for them to get it checked in. So I'm here in Sacramento. I've already unhooked the trailer, everything. They're going over it now, looking it over. And I said earlier I was going to try to do a little bit of a money breakdown. Now, this is what it is, but I mean, everybody's financial situation is different. I'm going to explain it the best way I know how, which may not be the best way, but it's still giving you something, what I can. All right. The trailer went 2,145 miles, paid $1.34 a mile on, that was in big truck, and we call that the line haul, and then 32 cents a mile fuel surcharge. All in, that's $1.66 a mile. Okay. Now, the gross of the load, what it paid me was, before anything came out, $3,560.70. Now, I spent $993.47 in fuel. I've still got a full auxiliary tank, so that's going to get me the better part of the way back across the country. That's going to get me a long way back, getting 20 miles a gallon. I will have to stop somewhere else and top off, and whenever I do, that will be added into the next load, just like there was fuel out of that's in with this that I figured in to get me up there to pick up this load. Yeah, that's not from the time I picked it up to the time I dropped it off. That's from my house up to Indiana across to here, and then this will get me the majority of the way back. Now, the next load, the way I figure, I will take the fuel that I put in next and take that away from the next load. That'll get me the rest of the way back to Indiana, and then I'll come back out to wherever I come to. I'm sure when I drop, I won't be on empty. It'll get me however far back, and then the next time I get fuel, I'll start that on the next load. That's how I do it. So, $3,560.70 on the pay, all in. $993.47 in fuel. That left me over, for me to put in the bank, $2,567.23. Now, that's not including any maintenance, truck payments, household bills, anything else other than fuel. So that's about the best I know to do. You know, that's about the best way I know to break it down. That's what they paid minus the fuel, and you still got to pay the insurance, truck payment, maintenance, and that's pretty much it in your household bills. You have your tag that comes to you once a year. You have, I'm trying to think, and on the spot, I'm not really, oil changes, service, tires, rotation, maintenance, other than that, I'm not really coming up with anything else. So, that being said, earlier on, I mentioned, or tried to mention, if you have a YouTube channel, there was a couple of people not long ago that had left in the comments that they had a YouTube channel. If you have a YouTube channel, drop in the comments. I'd like to check it out. I don't have time to watch a lot of stuff like I used to, but I'm still curious to check it out. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to go check up on him and see how much longer he's got left. Get my paperwork done, get it scanned in so I can get paid, and I will see you guys in the next video. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.